Okay, it's January 6, 2016. This is a demolding of Smooth On Sorta Clear 40 after curing for about 20 hours. Sorta Clear 40 has a Shore A hardness of 40 on the A scale, 60-minute pot life, 16-hour demold life, 800 psi tensile strength, elongation break 400%, and die B shear test strength, which I don't know what that means, so we don't care about it. So let's unpeel some of this stuff and see what we can find out. All right, let's start out with peeling some of the bits off of my bench blotter here to see how that goes. So I'm trying to feel for a, looks like a thick little piece right there. Okay, cool. So there's a nice little piece. Let's see whether we can test out the break, 400% break test. So let's get a rule from the rule pile. And see what 400% does to this. So this is just a scrap off the table. So let's go, that's 4 centimeters. So that means it should go out to 16 before it breaks, right? And assuming that I were to grab it by the ends, and that wasn't very close. Let's see what we get. It's got about a 3 centimeter piece. So let's see, 4, 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 7 centimeters, 8. So it looks like it went from 3 to 8, so that's about a 300%. It says 400%, and that's not elongation at break. So presumably they had it mixed perfectly, cured at the perfect temperature, and all that jazz, which I did not. So we got to about 300%. So the stuff that's on this stir stick has very few bubbles. If you recall, I was concerned about the amount of entrapped air in this, which of course we also have entrapped air in my stretch samples, which could cause it to break sooner. On the stir stick, it's pretty clear, and obviously it does not stick. You don't need to worry about mold release because this is a pretty rough piece of wood. This is just a piece of kindling from the fireplace that I split. Not a smooth surface, so that's nice. Let's peel out this. This is an error, CNC cam operation error. This is a thin cross section. We can look at the bubbles. Let's see whether we can read through this. And so that is, I'd say that was a lot better than Sorta Clear. That was this is very clear. This is pretty similar to the kind of a cross section that you might have building an enclosure for something that you want to be flexible. Let's see how thick that is. So it's 3 millimeters, and that is how it feels. So we might want to go thinner than 3 millimeters. Okay, and that came off really well. That did not melt the wax, not exothermic. It comes out of the mold easy. Let's try, this is the big reveal here. Let's see how this one goes. All right. So despite the bubbles, that's actually looking pretty good. I kind of like those that stair step effect that you probably can't see in that mold. This is no damage to the mold at all. It looks like you could make tens of duplicates out of this wax mold. And you can see this piece of wax is very dirty. It has chips in it. It has aluminum chips from a previous milling operation. It's got pieces of sawdust in it. It's got grease in it. This is all just melted together with plastic bags and stearic acid. So this is my worst piece of machinable wax. Still looks like it's probably good enough to make pretty nice objects. Let's see if this is focusing here. Can have a look at that surface finish. It's actually quite good. Let's trim this and make it look even better as a souvenir from this operation. So this looks like it cured up pretty nicely. It's a good material despite the bubbles. Even with the bubbles in it, it's probably good enough for a lot of prototyping. You can feel the bubbles on the top because this is the direction of gravity going up. So the bubbles have a tendency to float to the top and break, whereas on the bottom side, the bubbles are biased to the other direction, so you don't feel it. So I guess if you wanted a smooth surface without vacuum degassing, you'd need to do your casting upside down. So the bubbles went to the unfinished side, and then they would float away from the side you wanted to be smooth. Although, because this is very clear, it's not. As you can see, this Sorta Clear is quite clear, since we can read text through it. And so, and this top section feels like it's about the same as this thickness. So to make this transparently clear, we just need to suck the bubbles out before pouring the silicone in. But that's kind of a neat, very cool. Let's see whether I can invert that. Probably can't, it's too thick. But you can see this, see the stair steps in there probably, which I can eliminate with tweaking the Fusion 360 cam operation. So a not very good mold with not very well degassed silicone with small measurement errors in the mixing. And I read more carefully, and I even mixed and poured it at a little bit too low of a temperature. I need to warm it up in the room a little bit, up to above 65 degrees F for best results. And then with degassing, I think we can make perfect molds. But these imperfect ones are pretty good, depending upon what we're making. So this is the first test of Smooth On Sorta Clear 40, not degassed, in a wax mold, machined with a Shapeoko 3 with not very good cam settings, and it still works pretty good. It is January 6, 2017.